let's say you want to sell the property for the best price, less headaches, and the fastest possible, okay? Once you take this decision, you have 3 things to do. You first speak to an architect to see that the property is conformed with anything all the planning permits. You're going to speak to a notary to review your contract to see if there's anything holding your property back. Most of the time we find that we put the property on the market and a buyer comes, super interested, they get their architect and they find that there's something wrong. You do not want to be in a position where you have a fantastic buyer in hand and he's put off because it needs a regularization, because the regularization might take around 6 months to do. So, get the property prepared regarding notarial documents and your architect. Your next step, and this is a very important step, is the price. You have to speak to the professional in your area. Now, you can decide to just call the phone book and find someone who is an architect or an agent, but that is not how it works. You have to find someone who's worked in the area, who knows the prices in the area, who knows the properties and the type of property. So some people prefer using an architect. I always suggest always get an agent that works in the area. Try to get to see if he has a proven track record of the area, because if you're going to get an agent who you know but works in the south and your property is in the north, the prices are very different. You really need to get this done right. You need to get the price at a certain point where you have people giving offers. If the price is too high, people come and see it and won't give an offer. So this is what you need to do, okay? Once you take the decision that you're putting it on the market, you need to do certain steps. These steps that I always do with all my sellers, and I think it's super, super important. First step is looking around your house, seeing what does not need to be out. You have to turn your property like into a showroom. I know that it's very hard to do because you are living in the property, but you're selling the biggest asset of your life. 500,000, 1 million, 2 million. An average apartment today is 350,000, and you do not want to get that wrong. So get the property prepared. I have a stager who will come in and discuss what is needed to get your property at a prime position, but you can do this as well. Look at the kitchen counter. There needs to be nothing on the counters. Children's toys, keep those in the bedroom if possible. This is making your apartment, your house, as pretty as possible. So try to think of those properties which you saw photos of in real estate websites, and you go, oh my God, did they really allow someone to take a photo of this? And typically we don't see that in our properties because we're used to the stuff around us. So most of the time it might take someone else to actually point out that having the kettle, the toaster, the coffee machine, the NutriBullet on the counter might not be the best idea if you really want to sell your property fast and for the best price. Okay? Once your staging is ready and you're ready packed to leave, because you've taken a decision that you're selling. So you've taken a decision that you are going to leave. So once you make that decision, pack to leave. I'm not saying pack clothes. I'm not saying pack things that you use every day. But there are a lot of stuff which are not needed and will make the property look better. And this will de-stress from when you actually sell and you actually need to start packing. So pack stuff like, you're selling in January, you do not need the Christmas tree out. Put it in. Put it somewhere where it can't be seen. If you have a garage, fantastic, fill it up. If you've got a box room, fill the box room. As long as the kitchen, living, dining and the bedrooms and the corridors are nice and neat, you can fill a box room. People don't actually look into box rooms and say, I wish I knew the back of the box room. So That is important. Once it's staged, the next best thing to do, photos and videos. Now, I always use a pro photographer and pro videographer, and I always suggest to my clients, if you're going to go on open agency, you do too. You want the property out there to be the best it can be. You want the visuals on other people's websites to be top notch. Unfortunately, people look at the property and they judge if they want to see it or not on photos. Do you want to gamble with having a good buyer decide, I don't want to go see that property? So we're doing stages in the selling process. We are doing stages in what you need to do to get the most buyers into your property, qualified buyers, obviously, into your property to give you the best offers. And to do so, you have to make it as presentable, as visually pleasing as possible on websites, on social media. And that is what's going to be distributed with all other agencies. So get the visuals right. You should dictate what photos are given out there to the public. It is your property. I do this because I want the best clients to come in. I don't want people to judge a property because it looks small on Facebook, it looks small on social media, it looks small. Most of the time, people do not know how to take photos. You can do your own photos, but I would suggest get a professional photographer who's taken photos of property. Sorry, bit of a mumble there. So sometimes when we have a shell property, we do 3D renders. Why do we do this? Because a lot of people can't visualize what a property will look like. And it's worth investing in. For me, it is for sure. Because if a shell property is out there, what photos can you represent? So if you're selling your own home, if you're selling a shell property or a property which is not in the best state, get 3D renders, tell people they're 3D renders, but it gets people enticed to actually come see the property. I think it's super important. So after you get all the photos or the video, you get your plans which you know that are correct, you bundle that up as a marketing package, and you send that out to as many agents as possible. There are 75 agencies, could be a little bit more in Malta, and there's 3,000 agents. The aim of the game is to get as many buyers into the door as possible. Okay? You need to get as many of buyers in the door as possible. And to do so, you have to get as many agents to push your property. Now, this is my base of REALTA. This is what I do. I get that property with a fantastic marketing package. I give it to all the agents. I'll take all the calls myself. I will do the viewings myself and get that property sold in the least amount of time. You get all those buyers that are coming with agents all on the same day. Don't waste your time getting one on Saturday, one on Sunday, spreading them out. It is heartbreak, I understand. It is really difficult. So get as many people together as possible. Okay? So once you do that, try to get a group viewing for the agents. So once the property is super presentable, super presentable. So you've staged the property, you've put out the cushions, you've cleared the kitchen counter, and it looks like a hotel room. Create a group viewing for agents. I typically have between 60 to 80 agents come see a property, and they come in a span of an hour and a half. So I do it from 10:30 till 12. I make them coffee, they come actually physically see the property, they get inspired to offer to the client that they met a week ago, a year ago, a month ago, and you typically see them. I just got a property, come see it now. That is what you need. you need to create a hype around that property. Now, we are not all marketing managers. We do not do fantastic marketing. There are people who are lawyers, notaries. So this is not something that a typical person does. But if you're selling €1 million property, €1 million property, you need to get that done right. So I'm giving you the steps to do it on your own. I always feel that if I teach you, you might say, look, Andrew knows what he's doing. I can do it myself, but my friend can't. Let me pass Andrew on to my friend. But if you want to get that 5-10% extra out of your property, which you will not normally get, these are the steps you need to do. Okay? So, a group viewing for the agents, and as soon as the agents get those buyers, do not delay. Unfortunately, we all have work. You might work in an office where you can't take leave, but if that foreign client just arrived on the island, typically they meet their accountants, they meet the lawyers, they go to PwC and Deloitte, and they only have a day on the island, and your property fits their criteria. That is when you need to get them in. You need to get them in fast. These people typically are decision makers. Typically, they just need the property for their family 4 times a year, 6 times a year, and you need to get them in to take a decision. If you're not in that position, you might be losing your buyers. You might be losing a fantastic buyer. If you're selling a €500,000 property, it's not a joke. You need to act fast. And I understand, this might be your home. This might be a property which you inherited. But would you want to lose out on a cash buyer coming from Germany who's here to open up a company, who can close in 3 months, 4 months? I've seen this happen many a time. I've sold properties on the day because we could show that property at the time that the buyer was here. And other buyers, other sellers were like, I'm really sorry, but I can't open because I'm working. The one with the key in my hand typically gets sold because we can act fast. Okay? And the last thing is try to pack your day with the viewings. Get all the buyers in after each other. If we've seen it many a time, if a buyer comes in and sees another buyer leave, you create FOMO. And he might have a list of 10 properties that he wants to see, but he knows that this one, he might lose if he doesn't take a decision on that day. And that is what you want to create. You want to create a situation where a buyer has to make a decision. This typically doesn't happen because we do not market it that way. But this is the way to sell. You have to make the buyer take a decision within a day or 2. Now, I'm sorry for all the buyers out there, but I'm speaking for the sellers. Okay? This is what has to happen should you want to sell your property for a premium. For the best price ever. Get the buyers back to back. If it's an apartment, 15-20 minute slots. They don't need more than that. And if they do, the other buyer's waiting outside. He's getting anxiety that the person in there might buy it and he might lose it. If it's a house, give it 30 minutes. Don't give them an hour. They don't need an hour to see a house. If they need the hour, they're super interested, and you want them to see the next buyer outside waiting, he might snatch it up. This is how I sell properties in 6-7 days. Strategy, we sit down with the owner, we strategize the pricing, the permits, if they've got any notarial deeds, we look through them, we go through the stages of photography, posting them to other agents to get as many agents as excited as possible. We create the group viewing after 2 days, and that's the exciting period between the photos being sent to the agents and the group viewing for the agents. There's 2-day, 3-day span, and you'll find that you will get the most viewings at that period. That is when you will get offers. The best offers typically happen within the first week of going on the market. And don't go on the market just to put a property. This is a massive chunk of money. Don't just throw it on the market without a marketing plan, without a strategy. This is what we do. This is what we do with REALTA. Should you need our services, we are here. We take care of keys. We'll open the property. We'll take all the viewings. We'll take all present person, agent there with the other agent for the viewing. We close it up and we make sure that we leave the property as it was. We will give you a report every week of how many people have seen it, how many offers have been put in, how many people have seen it on Facebook, on Instagram, on our social media, how many requests we've got, so you know exactly what is happening with that property. You should know how many people have gone in, how many people have gone out, how many people have seen it on social media, that we are doing our job. If you need our services, you will find us on social media. Thank you very much for listening. I'm going to take